goes into prayer, and he talks to the goddess, and he says, my beloved goddess, I love you so much, and I know that you're just waiting for me. You're just waiting to serve me, and you really want to. And the thing that would make me really happy right now is to have a beautiful fountain, a gathering place where everybody can join together, and we can look at it. And art is always one of those things that raises people's vibration, and it builds community. And I know whatever I want will also bring abundance to the whole community. So then go shift awareness again into the goddess realm. And now looking at the perspective of the goddess, she's so excited. Oh my gosh, he's given me a desire. And I can feel the sincerity in his heart and the excitement. And this is my opportunity to show him how excited I am and how much I love him. So I'm going to pull all the particles together in this realm and create this beautiful work of art that's a fountain. And maybe it has dolphins that are jumping through the water, the statues of that, water coming out of their mouths, and people are coming. That's just artwork, thing of beauty. And she pulls it all together in the etheric realm so that she can see it there. And then she slides it into the third dimensional realm. Now the king just goes into trust. He's given his request. He knows it's going to happen. And so he just puts the request out there. And he starts telling the kingdom that this is his desire. He wants it. And all of the subjects start working together. The architects, the artists, the plumbers, the electricians, everybody, the masons. And they create this piece of art, this fountain in the middle of the city, and everybody comes to enjoy it. And the king is looking at it not just as this beautiful work of art, but this is the manifestation of love from the goddess. It's his knowing that she heard him, and here's his request that's manifested in the third dimension, and he's just feeling total gratitude for the acknowledgement that he has of her and her acknowledgement of her love for him, their love for each other. So that's the parable. Now, when I heard that, then they explained to me all the different pieces of the parable. And I'm going to use this parable to go through these 12 keys of manifestation. So is that okay? Are we good, Kate, if we keep going?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So first of all, I want to talk about belief systems. So the king is in a position where he knows he's entitled. This word entitlement, that I'm entitled to have whatever I want in life. It's my birthright. It's easy to imagine as a king because a king is born into abundance, and everything around him shows him. It expresses abundance. He doesn't have to question whether he has the right or doesn't have the right. And so in your life, if you look at your entire life right now as your kingdom, and everything that's happening in your life right now on some level has come from your belief systems and your sense of entitlement. And you may or not feel entitled. So the first key and thing that we want to look at is your belief systems. Because this is where your experience of reality can come from. You have to be able to examine what it is in your root chakra. What were you programmed with? What did your family of origin tell you, express to you about your sense of worth? What did your society, what did your teachers? It's all in your root chakra. Your root chakra is your foundation for life. This is also where your lower ego comes from, or from your experiences in life. Your belief systems come from your experience. So the first key is acceptance, actually. Acceptance means that you look at your entire life from the time that you were born to the moment right now, and it's important to know that you've done the best you can for who you were and accept where your life is right now. And probably until you connect with spirit more fully, your life has been a manifestation of your belief systems and your experiences and your lower ego. But acceptance means that you look at it without judgment. You don't try to defend it or justify it, look at it. It's just accepting where you are right now. Accepting that where you've come has come from, it's just the best that you can do for who you are. And to look at acceptance is like looking at yourself like a parent looks at a child. So when a child makes a mistake or a child does something like, oh, why did you do that? We don't, as parents, punish them for the rest of their lives. We don't make them feel guilty forever. We don't think, what is the matter with you? We think, oh, look, they made a mistake and we love them anyway. We know that this is part of their process of growing. We don't judge them for that. We just like guide them. If we're good parents, we just guide them into a different direction, give them a little wisdom, a little hints on how to move forward. But we don't make them feel guilty and suffer for the rest of their lives. But that's what we do to ourselves. So the king doesn't do that. The king just knows that all of his belief systems are in alignment with his knowing that he can manifest everything. So as you move through acceptance, then you move into the second one, which is oneness. Now,
hang on, Seth.
Somehow, yes.
Before we go there, are we going to ask them what it is that they feel is holding them back, or are you going to do that at the end of the 12 steps, the 12 codes?
Well, right now, in this thing I'm going to do right now, it's a perfect timing. You're right on cue, because I'm going to give them a little exercise so that they can have a clue on what's holding them back.
Oh, okay, cool. Great.
So I want you to imagine, everybody, that you have a master guide, a beautiful being of light that loves you totally. And I want you to imagine that you're standing face to face with this master guide, or you can imagine a beautiful angelic being, or any being of light that you can relate to, but a master guide is good. And see them, maybe it doesn't matter what gender they are, but give them a gender, give them a form, and see them standing there, and you're standing right in front of them. And look into their eyes and see the unconditional love that they have for you. And I want you to see the power radiating out of them and the wisdom that they have within them. And that when they look at you, they know everything about you. There's no secrets here. They know everything. And they still love you. And so the first thing that I want you to feel is, how do you feel inside of yourself when you're standing in their presence? And when this master guide is sending love for you, is it easy for you to receive it? Can you feel it in your body? Do you have a sense of knowing that you deserve this love, that that you have the right to ask for whatever you want, for whatever guidance? Or do you feel small? Or do you feel like you don't deserve it or unworthy? Now, the next step that I want you to do is, when you look at this master guide, I want you to know that you're actually looking at an aspect of yourself. Now, as soon as you do that, what happens in your body? Are you in alignment with that? Or do you have all kinds of stuff come up in your head that denies that? So what you're doing is you're looking at your most evolved self. This most evolved self that's always ready to work with you. And so right there, you're going to understand what some of your limitations are inside of yourself and where you need to work on yourself. And so acceptance of that takes you into oneness, is the second key. So understanding that you're at one with those higher aspects, the higher light realms of the universe, that you're at one with your higher self, that you're at one with all of the world around you, and that all the world around you is working with you, is the second key. Most people do not have an understanding of that, or they have an intellectual, they've heard it before, and they know that it's part of spiritual principles, but they don't actually have a realization of it in their being,
in their body.
And so that's why these master keys are also, each one is an initiation in itself. And this is one of the life initiations, to move into that place where this becomes part of your knowing, and which is leads to the third key of understanding, the third initiation. So understanding is what is your seeking for knowledge, understanding of situations and understanding the soul and who your language of the soul. Because once you understand and you make those connections with yourself on a soul level, then you start gaining more wisdom and understanding of who you are, which is so important because your understanding needs to grow. You are not just a body. You're not just a person who's living on this earthly realm. You're a person who exists mostly in the spirit realm, but a part of you is in a body.
Mm.
And so understanding, growing your understanding of truth and wisdom, real truth and wisdom, which is different than belief systems. You may believe that your belief systems are true, but belief systems by their inherent nature are limiting. Truth is unlimited. It never limits you because it's connected with universal truth. And understanding is meant to bring you peace of mind and clarity and relief. Once you do that, then you have the understanding, the connection of spirit, and that will take you into the fourth one, which is nurturing. Most people don't know how to nurture the soul, but the fourth key is nurturing the soul. But when you nurture yourself, you are nurturing the soul. And then you understand what it is that your soul needs to bring forth in your human form. And then that will take you into the fifth key of desire. So once you have a feeling of oneness, that you're part of a greater existence, you have an understanding of the language of the soul, then you're nurturing your soul, and you're nurturing so that you're starting to come in more relationship with it. Then you have a more relationship to your deepest desires. Desire is the fifth key. And desire is your soul's desire, not your lower ego desire. Lower ego, there's a big difference between your lower ego desires and your soul's desire. So your lower ego desires are usually based in your root chakra, and they're usually about survival and your basic needs, which is all okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're in touch with your soul's desires bring you into your life purpose. And it brings you more satisfaction in your life, and you feel like you're doing what you came here to do. And all of us want to feel that we are here with purpose, and we're here to do what we came here to do. And you're no longer governing yourself by your fears or your feelings of limitations or lack. Those always come from your lower ego. Then we move into the sixth key, which is a key of attitude. So attitude is everything in manifestation. Attitude is, am I moving forward with fear, or do I feel like a king? Do I have the attitude of entitlement, that everybody wants to serve me, that Mother, Father, God want to serve me, that I'm loved by the goddess? That's an attitude. That I have happiness and gratitude about everything that's in my life right now. And that attitude moves everything out of the lower chakras into your sacral chakra of feeling. Feeling is what moves, that the universe actually reads your feeling, and into the solar plexus, which is your seat of action. So a lot of you will have desires and intentions, and you really want to create something, and you have all these dreams, but it's a whole different reality to bring that energy up into your solar plexus and then move forward with a sense of action and purpose. This is the action I'm going to take to fulfill my dreams. That's where a lot of people get frozen, because their solar plexus is not strong enough. So that king is able to go into action. He's not afraid. He's fearless. He knows everybody will go into action and that they'll be in alignment with him, because his dreams and his desires come from his soul, and he knows that the goddess is always wanting to fulfill him. And so his attitude, he's always got a positive attitude, and he's got an attitude of service and gratitude at every moment. And then we move into intention, is the seventh key. So intention Nothing happens in this world without intention. Nothing you have ever created in your life didn't happen without a thought of intention first. And intention needs to be aligned with your soul's desire. And when you are totally in your power, your intentions are strong. And your intentions, this is a really fascinating thing, because when your intentions align with key 8 and 9, which are really going to be a stretch for almost everybody, this is the biggest stretch and one of the biggest initiations, are that the sacred God is the 8th key and the sacred goddess is the 9th key. The sacred, both of the masculine and feminine, are necessary for manifestation. In the parable, there's a king and there's a goddess. Really, the king could also be seen as the manifested form of the god, and the goddess is the female manifestation. So the god represents the conscious mind. That's where your consciousness is the masculine. The unconscious is the goddess. Then the realm of what's not informed. So in the parable, the king is conscious. It's all right in front of him. Everything is in manifested form. The goddess is in the unmanifested and in the deeper unconscious realm. And so when you have intention, this is really interesting how it's described in Michelle's work that we work with. So the god impregnates the goddess. So imagine that your intention is your consciousness impregnating the unconscious realm of the goddess, which is the feminine realm. And so in order to have balance in your life and for things to come out, you've got to deal with the unconscious, your unconsciousness. Everything is going to come into consciousness, but you might be unconscious of it. So cleaning up your unconscious world is vitally important, because everything in your unconscious world is going to manifest in your conscious world. The unconscious realm that you live, all those wounds and those hurts and those unconscious belief systems are really the goddess is gonna pay attention to all of them, because she doesn't judge any of it. The goddess is gonna give you whatever you impregnate her with, whether it's loving, unloving, fear, whether you think you don't deserve anything and you only need to make enough money to survive. The goddess realm is going to honor that. She's going to love your intentions no matter what, because she has no capacity to judge them. She only has the capacity to show you and give you what it is that you're asking. And you're asking through your feeling body, through your desires, through your intentions. Your intentions come through your thoughts and your belief systems. But it's important to understand that these are part of the spiritual laws of the universe. It can't happen any other way.
Can I just interject? Well, Sage, I think we're talking about a lot of stuff that some people won't know anything about, and I just want to frame that, we're going to kind of go into some of this stuff a bit deeper, so we kind of all understand some of these terms, right?
Yes,
Because
yes,
for
yes.
many people, this idea of the goddess is a new concept, and it's not really understood. It's certainly not really understood in the way I understand it. And so I just want to kind of frame that for people, so they can kind of rest assured that we'll address that later on. Yeah.
And I can even address it now easily,
Yeah.
because if you look at what I'm talking about, the principles, and take the word God and goddess away out of it, and just use there is a balance of energy on the planet. Actually, we're all coded with female aspects of ourselves and masculine aspects of ourselves. When you're in total alignment, it doesn't matter if you're in total balance, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Mm.
When you're completely healed, you have a balance of both divine feminine qualities and divine masculine qualities. You possess both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in terms of the way that we're talking about, if you just use the term conscious and unconscious, conscious being a masculine quality, unconscious being a feminine, because of the unmanifested quality of it, the mysteries. that's it. You can even take out the, if it even bothered you, God and goddess, and just look at masculine, feminine, conscious, unconscious,
Mm.
but in the terms of divinity, your divine nature, because you are divine natures. I'm going to say something about that in just a minute. So 10, 11, and 12, I'm not going to go into detail with, because the 10th key is magic, the 11th key is miracle, and the 12th key is manifestation. So when you have all of these keys in alignment, life unfolds. It seems like magic, and it feels like miracles happen,
Yeah.
and manifestation happens in front of you. But it's not magic or miracles, even though we perceive it because of who we are in our belief systems of separation. But when you move from separation into oneness, you start to understand that you're working with the entire universe, and then it unfolds like magic,
Mm.
miracles, and separation. So the last thing I want to say about that is just that, all of us were created in the likeness and image of God or goddess. And so if you think of Mother, Father, God in the light, you don't think of God as poor or experience him as disempowered or afraid or feelings of worthlessness, or that how could Mother, Father, God of the light ever be disempowered? It's impossible. How could they ever not feel love or feel unworthy? And so if we're created in their image, we have all the same qualities that they do. We are embodiments of them. So now I have just the last thing I want to do before we open up to questions is just take you through something to make this a little bit more personal. Okay? Is that all right? Kate, are we ready for that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I want you, again, we're going to look at that parable. And I want you to look at your life right now and see yourself. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you can look at yourself. This is a manifested form. You're the queen of your life, or the king. This is your kingdom. Everywhere that you look around, you've manifested it from your unconscious mind. And so the first thing to do would be to accept all of it without judgment. Whether you don't have enough money, you don't have the right partner, your health isn't perfect, it doesn't matter. Your work is to just get to a place. Your first initiation is to get to a place where you accept all of it, that you know that for who you are at the time, you've done the very best that you can. And then the next thing that I want you to do within that is to open up your perceptions of yourself. That here you are sitting listening to a webinar and you're in a body. But I want you to imagine that out the top of your head, that if you could imagine a giant pie-shaped amount of energy going out into the universe, that most of you is in that pie shape, and that part of you is connected to your light and your love and your spirit, that your spirit is just the tip of the pie, and that ascended being that we worked with a moment ago, when you align with that, then more of that pie comes into your body. More of that light drops into your body. And then you start perceiving like life completely different. Then you start to understand you're not separate from the trees or the plants or the earth herself or everybody who's in your world, that you're all working together, co-creating. So the king is looking at the world. He knows that he's part of that oneness. And your work now in this moment is to accept where you're at, to look to expand your view of yourself, that you're bigger than what you ever imagined yourself to be. And that to increase your understanding of that soul nature that you have. It's so important for you to understand you are not your ego, and to understand what the difference between ego and spirit is. Your ego is an accumulation of all your experiences and your thoughts and your feelings, but your thoughts that run around in your head over and over and over again that you're having during the day are only repeats of the same thoughts you've ever had. Your ego doesn't come up with anything creative or new. It comes from your soul. And to have an understanding of your soul nature is critical to open up your creativity. And so in the parable of the king, he has a clear understanding that he is that divine goddess also, that he's part of that. And that's your work. And to nurture yourself, that the king has a luxurious life. he gets to he gets to take care of himself all the time and the kingdom. And so how do you take care of yourself? How do you nurture yourself? How do you nurture the deepest parts of yourself? How do you take care of yourself in a way that's not taking care of everybody else? Because as women, we have a tendency to take care of everybody else first. We're really trained as women. Take care of your kids, take care of your husband, take care of your workers, take care of the garden, take care of the house, take care of the laundry, make sure everybody's fed. We've got like a laundry list of things to do and people to take care of. But how do you feed your soul? How do you when do you step out of that and really do what your soul is, what feeds you, makes you feel good? And then what is your attitude about the life that you've created? What kind of attitude do you go through life with on a daily basis? Do you have an attitude of gratitude, or do you have an attitude like, oh my God, this is so hard and why does this keep happening to me? Because when you pass this initiation of attitude, this is the attitude of moving from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. An attitude that everything in life has purpose to it. An attitude that if I have something really, one of my biggest struggles in life is happening, it must be because I designed it ahead of time before I took birth. I have soul contract with this person to have a big fight or not get along because I'm trying to learn lessons about myself, or I have this loss in life, I have a death or a car accident, or I've lost a job. Nothing happens. You're not a victim to any of it. It was all designed ahead of time. And when you have a bigger perspective, that your attitude is open, that I'm here for my soul growth, I'm here for my learning, and I am gratitude. I'm grateful for all of it. That's an attitude. That's a bridge that takes you from victim consciousness to your spiritual consciousness. Now look at your life and your intentions. The king set an intention. He wanted to make a connection with the goddess so he could feel loved. He did that through asking for the fountain. So what intentions are you clear about? Your sense of power comes from holding clarity on your intention. If you have an intention one day and you lose it the next, and you lose it the next, and then you have it again, and then you lose it, and then you have it again, remember, key 8 and 9 is that your consciousness is losing the intention, gaining the intention. You lose the intention. So the goddess is like, I don't know which direction to go. Do you want it? Do you not want it? So one day she's manifesting it, and then she takes it away, and then she manifests it. That's your unconscious mind constantly not knowing which direction to go. And so in your life, how clear are you? How much personal power do you have? Willpower. This intention and willpower come from the same place. It's your power center, your third chakra. That king, when you think of a king, you know he has clarity. Any king you think of on the planet, you know he has enough power that he's going to make anything happen. That's the kind of power that you need to have in your being, like a king or like a queen. And to know that the sacredness of who you are exists in that unmanifested realm as the goddess in the story. And then your miracles and your magic will happen in life when you pass these initiations and you make sure that they become part of who you are. They're not just ideas or theories. An initiation means that each of these keys you become. You embody these keys so that you are acting in the world in alignment actually with the cosmic laws of the universe and manifestation. Okay, so Kate, I think that's enough of the talking, and I'd like to know if anybody has any questions about any of that before we go on.
I think my question is for you, Sage, is just, I mean, wow, there's so much knowledge there, and we speeded all the way through that. There's so much there for me to even take in, I think, as well. And I just feel like it's really important maybe we just feel our bodies for a second and just feel what's going on for us, because some of that is mind-blowing. Some of that knowledge is just mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is, and it's meant to be. That's why they're initiations, and it's really a path of. It was mind blowing actually when it came to me. The whole concept of wow, there's a masculine form of form, like form and consciousness I kind of put together. That
Mm.
form is the masculine and then the feminine, that alone, that you can that um what the teachers have said is that we in our divine templates of who we are, polarity was originally that there is masculine and feminine aspects in ourselves and in the universe. But we turned that into duality, where duality is really about love and suffering.
I mean, for for me, I mean, the most important thing for me is the feeling world and being able to ground all this beautiful knowledge so we actually feel like goddesses, so we can move through the world as goddesses, so we can feel in our hearts this sense of I am a creator being and I am not a victim in this world, you know? And I think
Yes.
that's what the goddess work really opens you up to. It really opens you up to the feeling world, to be able to dispense with your thinking brain for some time, and drop into what feels right in your body. And this is what this program is all about, being able to kind of discern within yourself through all the channels that that move through what you feel, how you sense yourself, how you move physically, what you say to yourself, how you see with your third eye, to be able to really follow your own truth. And for me, this is what the goddess is about, isn't it? It's about being able to go, okay, we are not running, on treadmills anymore. We are not at the mercy of everybody else's ideas about who we are and what we should be. We are now here to live our own creator being lives, and connect with that source of, for me, it's a source of love, actually, and that oneness within myself, that then I just feel that sense of belonging with everyone else. And that,
Hmm.
that's what it is for me. That's what the goddess is for me. It's very real in my life. And that doesn't mean that the divine masculine isn't part of that. That, like you were saying about the intentions, I love that, because I think a lot of manifestation ideas and abundance work out there, it doesn't bring the masculine and the feminine together like that. It goes to one or the other. Do you know what I mean, Sage?
Yes, I do.
It,
I do.
yeah, it talks about, or set your reality for what it is, or go for your goals and you'll make it happen. It doesn't talk about how we can kind of bring those two worlds together so they live within us, so we can kind of, yeah, feel it within us and make it work within us. Does that make some sense? That's how I feel.
Oh, yeah, it totally makes sense. And in the beginning, Kate, you were talking, and we're going to watch the chat line to see if there's any questions while we're talking. That this goddess work for me to be able to get to this place in my life, I have to say, has been like a life's work. There was just so much work to do. So, you know, now that I have
You went
this
long,
relationship
but
with.
you've gone the long way. We have got, in many ways, our work has been, I mean, I know mine has been, it's felt like a long way around. I don't believe it needs to take forever, you know.
No, because that's why we're doing this program, because
Exactly, yeah.
work that took me 30 years of gathering information. I'm older than probably a lot of people on this site. I'm 54. So when I was working with the goddess in my 20s, nobody had even heard of the goddess. That was in like 1979.
Yeah.
1980. And so I had not a clue what it was. But over time, I really have learned that it really is about learning for me to love myself and to see myself as a multidimensional being. Now, to move from a third dimensional being who just lives in consensus reality to a multidimensional being that I know I exist on many different realms and planes of existence, I've gone through so many different paradigm shifts, but now there's so much help, and we have so much help. There's so many exercises that can speed up the process and just introduce you to those parts of yourself so you don't have to stumble around and find it on your own.
And yeah, and I think that's really important. It's not about changing everything about you. That's not what I feel this work is about. I feel like it's about really allowing what's already there to really shine and to be born. It's like we have that seed within us that wants to kind of come out and blossom, but we just don't know how to really, we don't, in our ordinary awareness, we don't know how to access that. And our potential is kind of tied up inside, through all these layers of crap really that's on top of us, all this dross that's like, over us. But inside there's like the seed that wants to blossom. And I think for me, a lot of my training has been, especially in process work, process orientated psychology, has been about allowing what's already there to kind of be seen. I've always known there's a strength within me. I've always known I've had this ability to unconditionally love, but it's like we hide this from ourselves. We hide that from each other, yeah, because we don't. It's almost like we're so ashamed that we can't show it. If we're seen to be like that, or you know,
Yeah, that's the training. That's what religion on our planet has taught us, that you have to hide, that you're
yeah,
born, you can't have pride and you can't really shine, and you
yeah,
have to be humble, but that's the wrong definition of humble. So for me, being humble is being in service to spirit. Being in service to spirit means really being in service to your I am presence, to your own goddess nature.
yeah,
And that for me is true humility. Not humility, I'm sorry, wrong word. Humility.
yeah,
To know that as I become more and more in relationship to my inner goddess,
yeah,
to my spiritual side of myself, and that I've seen it. I'm living proof of it now. I travel all over the world. I have a very loving partner that we've healed on so many levels, that I have, really, everybody asks me, how are you today? Every day I say, I'm just fantastic. My life is great. I can't believe how magical my life is really a tribute to living out these 12 keys.
yeah,
I live these keys, and I'm still working on it. We all are. I won't until I'm manifesting instantaneously. I'm not completely embodying them, but as I move more and more through my initiations and embody them more and more, my life is a manifestation of them. And it always is about it's just your inner being able to come out, like you said.
yeah,
I'm not, I'm not following anything except what I'm learning about the deepest parts of myself, and disengaging from everything I've learned from the world around me, although I have teachers within the world that have guided me and helped me get to the place that I am. And that's part of my learning and being here on this planet, is connecting with those teachers. And then I open up and my own teachings come to me. It's a combination. We're all working together. So that's another part of what I just want to say real quick, why we're doing this as a 5-month program, is that we're creating a community. I didn't get where I am because I walked on a solitary path. I
yeah,
got where I am today because I have sisters, really, they're mostly all women. I have sisters that I've aligned with, that all of us are on this path together, and we work together, we do practice, we do, clearing our belief systems, clearing our past lives, our ancestors, whatever, or listening to higher teachings from the other realms. We're doing it together, and really that
yeah.
for me
And Sage,
is
I just want to say that the spiritual path, when you're on it, and I'm sure most people, if not everyone on this call, is on that path, is isolating. It can feel like that. I know for me, it surely has been at certain times in my life, because you do end up thinking differently and feeling differently. And you do feel like these emotions and feelings and perspectives that, nobody else around you really feels. And you do then end up doing, a 9 to 5 job and feel disconnected from your own kind of what's changing within you. And so that sisterhood for us is like this sense of having people that you can share what's going on with you, but also keep you committed, keep you on doing the work, because it is work at times, but keep you motivated and keep your intention clear about what it is that's going on for you. And this is what's been missing for me from the goddess workshops, that sense of sticking with something, of being persistent in your work and in your in your healing work, yeah. And also,
yeah, I can't
the other thing,
how many times
hmm,
sorry.
go for it.
Go ahead, Kate.
I was going to
I
say
was just
so
going to
about.
say how many,
Mm,
we're both so excited about this
I know.
particular
You go
part.
for it. You go for it.
I was just going to say, I can't tell you how many times a week I think, oh, I just had somebody to go online with. I've got this thing nagging at me I need to clear. And
Mm,
if I had a program like this, I could just make a phone call. I've got an exercise I need to do.
yeah, yeah. So that's what that's how we envisioned it. That's, well, it's how the goddess envisioned it, to be honest with you. But that's what we're grounding, that sort of partnership, that community, that sisterhood that is ongoing, that doesn't end after 5 months, that keeps going and expanding. We hope, anyway,
Hmm.
and that's how we see it. So we kind of coming to, we've got another 15 minutes, and I know that there's a meditation that we want to do at the end that really introduces people on a more feeling level to what this work is. And I know that people are probably shy and don't want to kind of put forward their questions, or maybe they just feel so overwhelmed with the information that they don't know what their questions are. I don't know, but we'd love to hear what they are, or we can just keep on talking. Does anybody have any questions? And you can just direct them to the organizers at the bottom if you choose.
But you can also say in the chat line, I have a question, and we can unmute you, and then you can ask the question in person because they're sometimes too long to ask
Yeah.
on a chat.
Can you see anybody say? This is the first
I
time.
see there's a hand, there's a something blinking. We're kind of new to this system. I don't.
Hands raised. There's two hands raised there. Let's see if we can see who they are. I can see. Yeah,
Okay.
I can see two hands raised. Okay, so let me unmute. I'll unmute you, Sarita, first. Okay, give me 1 second. You need to unmute yourself as well. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah, we can. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, how will you be getting everyone to understand how to do this? I mean, when you're going through the process and you're going through all these points, how are people going to be learning it? Is it going to be, something that they're going to go through the whole thing in one go, or is it going to be step number one, they have to go through their experience bit first and work on that first, or how is that going to work?
Are you referring to the 12 codes?
Yeah, is that what, yeah, from what you've been talking about a minute ago?
So the 12 codes come throughout the program. They're not, they're there giving you the foundations of the way we manifest. But remember, this isn't about just manifesting your dreams. This is about kind of changing who you are on the inside, I guess. Yeah. So that's just a taste of it, I think. Is that right? Is that how you would explain that, Sage? How would you?
It's a taste, but I would say that when you write down, if you hear it, you can listen to this again, that we gave 12. And it's not like you go through that you have to, I want you to think of it more like a circle instead of a list. If you had a like a chart that was a pie chart,
Yeah.
and each of the sections of the pie chart had like one section would say acceptance, the other would say oneness, and that there's not, you don't have to learn one and then go to the next. These initiations all can happen, all at you just work on them all at the same time. You work on one piece one day, another piece another day. It's just that you know that these are all initiations that need to be completed for you to really step into being a conscious manifester.
And some of those codes initiations will take time. They will take time. They will take the whole 5, 6 months to be able to kind of really feel like you've got that. And some you'll be working on for a lifetime. It's not
Mm.
like that we can kind of necessarily change that overnight. But the
Yeah,
idea,
that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
I was thinking that. I mean, is
yeah,
it something like a skill where they can take it on and then just work through that for the,
yeah. So
over the time?
yeah,
Yeah.
so what you're really doing through these 5 months is becoming more aware of what's going on for you. And I would also like to say that we haven't talked about the initiations themselves, the goddess initiations, but they are incredibly powerful tools. There's 3 of them, and when I had my initiations, my life changed forever. That was me. I'd done a lot of work before then. The people who know me know that. So I was ready for them. And you need to be ready for them because they will change your life. But if you haven't done the work to prepare yourself for them, then they don't do that much. So it is really necessary to do the work, and they will shift your consciousness to a new level. So some of the things that have been holding you back, they no longer hold you back. Yeah. So that's also so there's lots of different elements to this program. It's very difficult for us to kind of describe fully how something that is very multidimensional, in a very linear way, we can't explain that to you right now. It'll just be more about your experience of it, and you kind of growing in it. Yeah.
I want to say, Kate, that maybe it was like these 12 keys are one little tiny part. We have hundreds of these
Yeah.
kind of projects, really.
Yeah.
So maybe, Kate, you can talk about the 5 modules that we have over the
Well,
5 months.
before we do, we've got actually we've got 8 questions, and we haven't got much time left.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Great. Okay.
go through the rest of the questions. So I'm just going to thank you for that, Sarissa. I'm just going to kind of mute you again. There we go. You're muted. Okay, so Rebecca, I think we have you. Let me unmute you and you unmute yourself. Hi, Rebecca. Can you hear me? Hello? Rebecca, have you unmuted yourself? Okay, we'll leave you for a second, Rebecca, and we'll go to somebody else. Hang on one second.
The mute button, just so that she knows, is the green microphone button on the sidebar.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just. So I'm going to go to Sinead. I can see that you have a question. I've unmuted you, Sinead. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I can hear you.
You can hear me, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
My question is, how do you accept what is if your belief system is so deeply rooted?
That's a fantastic question, and that's why these are initiations. So let's imagine that what is that you have, that, I mean, everybody in life has moments in their life that they feel like they can't accept. They're really unacceptable. Sometimes
Mm.
people feel like, how could God have done this to you, or made you, given you a sick child, or anything like that. So when it's really the acceptance, let me start with not accepting. When you don't accept something, then that clearly means that somehow the universe is not in alignment where it's supposed to be, or you feel like you're being victimized, or you're just simply suffering too much. But when you come to acceptance, even let's say that you're in a relationship. Something is really loud in the background, like moving furniture.
I think it's Sinead's background. I've just muted Sinead for a minute. Go for it.
Yeah.
And then we'll.
Okay. So let's say that you're in an abusive relationship that you feel like you can't get out of. I'm just going to give an example. A lack of acceptance, you would feel victimized and trapped in that situation, or in any kind of a bad relationship. But if you have acceptance of where you are, literally I tell people, my clients, you need to every day say, if you're choosing to be in that relationship anyway, you need to say, I'm choosing to be here. That's part of acceptance. I've chosen to be here. I'm choosing every day, even though I'm totally miserable, I'm choosing to be here, because then you have power actually to change the situation.
Okay,
If you're feeling trapped,
are you saying then that the acceptance is actually allowing yourself to access that power? Is that it?
yes, or if you have a sick child and you don't understand the bigger picture, understanding is part of it, that child came in because it had lessons to learn, and so did you. And that child and you made an agreement before you came into birth that you were going to go into this difficult situation. Otherwise, if that brings acceptance, but also through understanding. So
And
sometimes you have to have the understanding before you can get to the
yeah,
acceptance.
and
So
I
you have to open up to that.
and I would also say that all of these experiences, these challenges, these struggles create a lot of feelings, a lot of difficult emotions, a lot of difficult headspace being taken up by those emotions and thoughts too. And so part of this work is about really being able to kind of work with those emotions and transmute them, really, isn't it, Sage? Would you say that?
Yes, Well, and I would say that what I've heard from the angelic realm is that the angels always hear your prayers. Please heal my child, or please give my husband a job, or bring me a job, and they hear them. But if you have a soul contract before you come in, that you have to go through the struggle, they will not step in to intervene because they love you enough to let you learn your lessons. As humans, sometimes we just have to go through the struggle because our greatest growth, our greatest change, our greatest facing our lower belief systems and lower egos comes, unfortunately, on this planet sometimes through struggle. And so while you're going through the struggle, sometimes it's very difficult to accept. But as you face your belief systems and you face everything that's coming up for you, because during your struggle and during your feelings that you're experiencing, that's what you deal with,
And I
and
would
that's where the
also
growth is.
And I would also say, though, that when you enter into this path, right, there's you kind of can call upon grace, right? And grace is really something special that I know that personally, I've really had it enter into my life at the most amazing moments when I really needed it. And that changes everything. And that's one of
Well, that does change everything.
and that's something from the Divine Mother. That's one of her gifts to us. And
Yes, and I can say that grace comes through the power of forgiveness, and we do a lot of work in this program with forgiveness and the violet flame, because I have a really clear understanding that we live in a quantum universe and that we're out picturing. And so as we heal with the energetic patterns inside of ourselves, and that we forgive and transmute the energetic patterns, your outer world does change. But sometimes you have to go through very difficult experiences because this is not for me. It's not like any other program where we say you just have to heal your belief systems and everything will be okay.
no,
I know that that is too simplistic. I know that we all have karma that we're dealing with, and those of you who are Christian, that may be a difficult term for you. But if you just you can even think you existed before you took birth. And the Bible does support that. You existed before you took birth, and in your existence, there was some lesson that you were meant to learn. And so it's impossible to accept sometimes in the moment where you are. But as you move through and you heal your issues in your heart, and you start to develop and you grow and you learn the lessons you set out, and you have a bigger understanding, then you will accept eventually. Acceptance doesn't have to be the first
I think we
thing that happens before.
I think we need to go on to another question, otherwise we're not going to have time.
Okay. Thank you for the question. It's a very profound question, actually. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
that
that
question.
really opened us up. Okay, I think because we haven't got much time left, we can keep going. I think, Sage, and then people can listen to the recording afterwards if they choose to. So we'll just keep going until we've answered the questions. Yeah, does that feel right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then if you need to go, you can go ahead and go, but we'll just answer the questions.
Okay, so we have one from Elizabeth. I'm going to unmute you and then you unmute yourself. Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Hello.
Oh,
Elizabeth,
hello.
you have your question.
Did I have a question? Actually, it was really answered very well by
Oh,
the last response.
great. We'll move on. Thank you very much. We'll move on. Let me just come to Nina. Okay. Let me unmute you, Nina, and unmute yourself. Hi, Nina. Hi, Nina. Okay, Nina's. I can't. I'm gonna unmute somebody else. Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So my question really was around desire, and how do you know what your soul's true desires are, and how do you know the difference between your ego when your ego is speaking and when your soul's speaking to you?
That's also a very profound question. I love the depth of these questions. So remember that the way that the key number one was or two was oneness, and then understanding, and then nurturing. All of those are steps to come more and more in touch with your soul. And it's a huge process in itself just to understand the difference between your ego and your soul. So your lower ego is usually aligned with fear, really, and your soul is aligned with love. And when your soul is speaking through your desires, then it will be you just have to trust the beginning that you really all of your desires to improve your life or that are aligned with love are going to be coming from your soul. And if your desires are coming out of fear, then you know that that's probably coming from your ego and your lower belief systems. So that's the easiest thing that I would say.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to move on just because of time. Thank you, Kitty. Alina, I've got you here, so I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Alina. Hi, Alina. Hi, Alina. Hello.
Hi.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I typed a question, but I believe my question has already been answered. I was just asking about the tools. So thank you very much. I got my
Okay,
answer.
that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Shelley as well. I'm going to unmute you, Shelley. Okay, unmute yourself. Hi, Shelley.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hiya, I just want to know, how do you find your own goddess when you feel like you've been living your mother's life?
That's such a great question.
That's a great question. I think everybody on this call can kind of sympathize, empathize with that.
Yeah.
I'm only laughing because that is the question for all women.
Yeah.
In fact, when one of the initiations is the white fire ceremony, and when the grandmothers in spirit channeled that initiation, they said, this initiation is important because those of you who don't address yourselves and heal all of your lower energy frequencies will become your mothers. So you have a choice of either becoming the goddess or becoming your mother.
Becoming the divine mother, yes.
Divine mother. So that one just sent me into a whole space. That question's so great. So know that it's all still the process, that as you get to know your soul, your higher self has a plan for you that is not to become your mother.
Yeah.
But you're really programmed through your ancestors, through your DNA. That's why we're doing ancestral healing. Through your programming in your belief systems is all really to become your mother.
Yeah.
And so our work is very well aware of that question. And as we go through the process of healing and integrating and bringing in your higher frequencies of light, then your authentic self has an opportunity to come in. It's the unconscious people who don't really work on themselves. I'm not saying anybody here is unconscious, but I'm saying anybody who has never done any personal work will for sure probably become their mother or their father. And so not that that's a bad thing. There are plenty of beautiful qualities in our mothers, but we are our authentic beings, and we all want to be our own unique aspects of our own truth and our own higher natures. And so our program is really designed for that question, really.
Great, thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
You're muted again, Shelley. Thank you. Is there any other questions? Let's see. I think I can see. I can go back to Rebecca. I think I'll just, let's see. I think that's it, actually. I think we've answered all of them.
Isn't it remarkable? Look at what time it is. It's
I know.
exactly about the time that we close.
So are you going to do your meditation, Sage?
No, I'm not, because it's important for me to stay on track with our timing so that everybody can.
That's fine. That feels fine for me as well. Maybe we can do that next time.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
feels
I really love to do more free webinars just so that people can really get a good understanding of what kind of work we're doing.
because there's so much to this work, and it's so difficult to fit it in all of it into an hour and a quarter. In fact, it's kind of impossible, really. But you know, we would love to do more, and we'd love to have your feedback. And if anybody's interested in the program and wants to know more about it, then get in touch with me directly, and I can give you more information on that. We'd love to help you make it happen as well. And I would love it if you could go onto Facebook and like the Abundant Goddess, or it's actually Abundant Goddess Facebook page. I would really appreciate that. I'm not the best with Facebook, and I appreciate people sharing and liking it. And obviously, also all the information on the program is on the abundantgoddess.co.uk. And if you want to join, you can. And there's a join button there where you can pay your first payment, and then 2 more payments can be taken later on in the year. But it's a pretty good deal, isn't it, Sage? Really,
it's a fantastic deal, because really you're getting a 5-month program and a goddess retreat. It's like our introductory offer.
Yeah.
It's sort of like getting the 5 months for free.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and for every one of those questions was so incredible. I'm so appreciative of the questions.
Yeah. And please, send us your feedback, and thank you to everybody who's there. We've had pretty good engagement, so we think we've kind of hit some marks at least. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Yes, we had over 70 people sign up for this webinar, which we're really thrilled about.
Yeah. So great. Thank you everyone, and take care. Lots of love from us and the goddess.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.